All right, everybody. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather. We've been watching these storms today, and there is something just south of Cleburne that I've been watching here. We have to pay attention to these little spots in a line where sometimes we can see little areas of rotation trying to spin up, and there's a couple of these that I've been watching pretty closely. One of those near Alvarado, one near Rio Vista, and I'll show you what I'm looking at. You can see one right here northwest of Rio Vista. You see where you have these two really kind of coming together here. And let me first say that there's really been nothing from the National Weather Service on this. So it's there's nothing official and there's nothing really to talk in too much detail about. So I don't want to sound a bunch of alarms, but this is just an example of kind of those areas we have to watch in these lines, especially on a day like today when the potential for severe weather is there. The other thing, too, is that this line is expected to intensify as it moves eastward. So I'm also watching for the possibility of straight line winds as we get these pockets that may bow out and cause some intensity there. You can see in South Arlington there, a peak of wind. So we are watching several things along this line. Also the threat of large hail with these storms. So far, they have been fairly docile, fairly cooperative here. So we've been fortunate. Let me put the live banner up there so we know that we're live here. But those are just a couple of things that I am watching very closely on this line of storms. I know there's Mardi Gras festivities going on in Waxahachie right now, and that is something that we are going to have to keep an eye on as well because you're outdoors and there's a lot of lightning in these storms. So you want to make sure that you're staying tuned to South Metro Weather. So we're fortunate so far. This line has cooperated, but I am watching a couple of areas along that line to make sure that we're not seeing little any of these linear setups, these little spin-ups that try to make some interesting things happen. Nothing so far, but I am definitely watching those. So this line, I mean, we've been watching this, and the good news is that it's going to bring plentiful rain. We could see an inch or two across our area. We could actually go beyond that and see more of that rain later on tonight too. So we could see localized areas could get up to 3 inches of rain. So that is the good news here. I want to do something. We're going to kind of go a split screen here. I am really concerned about this area west of Venus because you can see some pretty clear increase in wind velocity here, increase in wind speeds, a pretty good hook west of Venus. So I am more concerned about this right now. The tornado threat today, as we talked about, is it's low, but it's not zero. And so this is what I am monitoring here. West of Venus, just north of Alvarado. And I mean, pretty clear area of inflow, pretty clear area of increased winds here. And a lot of the time, these little spin-ups can happen very quickly. And so it's one of those things that you almost have to watch these more closely than a supercell or something like that, where you might see a more gradual increase in that rotation. These linear complexes, you just have these little spin-ups that just kind of jump out of nowhere. So if you're in the Alvarado, Venus, Lillian area here, west of Midlothian, even in Mansfield, in this area, please be tuned in. Please be watching this closely because we may have a little spin-up going on. Now, I will say, I don't think this is going to be, if anything kind of materializes here, I don't know that we're going to be looking at anything, major, long-lived, anything like that. So I do want to watch this very closely, but, I'm not too terribly alarmed. Now, near Rio Vista, we talked about that area as well. We are seeing some increased winds there, and it does look like maybe some inflow-outflow business going on a little bit, but not like we saw earlier, and also not like this west of Venus. So I'm not terribly concerned at this point about that in Rio Vista. But west of Venus, this is what I'm watching here. And we may see this deteriorate very quickly. I'm sure the National Weather Service, what they do here, and it's the smart way to go. They tend to be a little more cautious on this stuff. because a lot of the time you have these little spin ups, especially on a day like today when the atmosphere really isn't set up for any kind of tornadic activity. A lot of the times these things try to get real aggressive and they try to get big and mean, and then they just don't really go anywhere. It just kind of disappears on you. But I'm seeing, we got a new scan here. I'm still seeing that. And this is side by side. What you're watching on the left is your reflectivity. So this is, where you see the rain. And there we have, again, another scan here of these increased wind speeds. And I mean, if you look at this, you can see very clearly where that inflow is coming in. And then you have your outflow, and that's those increased wind speeds. So I'm very concerned about this right now. West of Venus, just northeast of Alvarado, this is eastern Johnson County, headed towards near Venus, towards Midlothian, that area, eventually possibly towards southern Dallas County. So, but what you're watching, this is the winds, and this is where you watch for those areas of rotation. And I don't think I'm catching anything out of order here, but it really does look like those winds are increasing specifically in that area, and that we could very well be looking at, some rotation that is trying to really increase in that area. So just to kind of give you some context here, again, this is northwestern Johnson County, going to be heading towards the Venus Midlothian areas, eventually possibly towards southwestern Dallas County. All of this is west of Waxahachie. I don't think that particular area is going to be an area of concern for Waxahachie or really anywhere south of there. But that is the area that we're watching, this right here. And that is headed, again, towards the Venus and Midlothian areas, and then eventually possibly towards southern Dallas County. No warnings yet. There has been no warnings issued with this, but that area, the last few scans, this is that velocity view. Those last few scans have been pretty consistent that we are looking at an increased threat of rotation here. I would not be surprised if it is trying to produce, again, one of those quick little spin-up tornadoes. We'll take a look at the camera here over in Glen Heights. Not really able to see much. It's windy out there. Chris Andrade heard sirens in Red Oak and Lancaster. They wouldn't be testing them today, and I doubt you heard those. And I'm not trying to call you a liar. I'm sure you heard something, but I doubt it was those outdoor warning sirens, because they wouldn't have any reason to test those today. If it's normally they test them on a Wednesday at 1:00, right? The first Wednesday of the month. And then they additionally will, they'll cancel those if there's storms in the area. Shadow Wolfskin, what's the scan that shows possible degree on radar? We'll get to that if we need to. But we're not quite there yet. The good news is this is fairly close to the radar, so we are going to get a fairly decent look at that. Now we'll look at correlation coefficient. I don't see Shadow Wolf Games. I mean, you're talking about this correlation coefficient. I don't see anything there. That's usually going to show you where there's upward movement of particles in the air, and that usually is going to indicate a debris signature, that kind of thing. That's not what I'm seeing there. At the very least, if we're not seeing, bolstered rotation here, we are seeing increased winds. So for the Venus area, you at least have increased wind speeds, but we are definitely seeing, again, more of you have your inflow here, and you have your outflow. And that's pretty clear. I don't see that not being what I'm looking at. But no warnings issued yet. The National Weather Service hasn't issued any warnings yet for this area. But, I got a text message from somebody going, hey, look at this, about the same time I was watching it. And so if you're in the Venus area, if you're in the Midlothian area, I want you ready to go at this point. Have that area, that safe spot ready to go. Because I do think that we could very well be looking at an area of rotation that is, that is trying to do something. And it doesn't look like the National Weather Service has much confidence in that at the moment. But it's definitely trying to do something here. And again, the atmosphere is not really set up for a tornado event today, but that's why I say your tornado threat is low, but not zero. Okay, there's a big difference there. And so I don't know if we have any eyes on this west of Venus. I don't have any reports on the ground of any lowerings or anything like that. I've not seen anything yet, but this is definitely something we need to keep watching here because we've had pretty consistent. If we look back at the radar scans here, I mean that right there, you have that concentration of increased wind speeds with this inflow outflow situation. Um, and then we've had this kind of consistent echo here. Okay, so just a couple of things I'm watching here. The good news is that west of Venus, this almost looks more like just a gusty wind situation, possibly. Still seeing increased winds here as it nears Venus, but it does look like it's taking a little bit of a right turn, which is not necessarily what I want to see here. But you can see that bowing out. So if anything, that is going to be an indication that we are looking at increased wind speeds. So at very least, some straight line winds here with this. But as this moves into western parts of Ellis County, I'm going to continue to monitor this. I don't know if anyone, I don't know if anyone's okay. Hearing that we've got silence on the radios. AccuWeather just sent a notification out: dangerous weather imminent. So here's the thing. And this is why I like Weather Call. Not to do a shameless plug or anything, but these apps, they send you all kinds of wild notifications. And who knows what that's referencing, right? Um, but you have to be careful with those because they're going to send you unofficial alerts of just all kinds of crazy stuff. Uh, you know, Weather Call goes specifically off of what the National Weather Service has issued, and the National Weather Service has not issued any warnings attached to this. There's nothing confirmed. Barely anything radar indicated at this point. Certainly not, anything on the ground radar indicated. We've been checking that correlation coefficient. I'm not seeing that indication. The correlation coefficient would show us if there were particles moving upward, and so with that, we're going to be looking at, we would be able to tell normally if there's upward movement with that storm, and we're not seeing that. So that's the good news. We don't have anything confirmed at this point, but it's definitely one of those things you want to watch because these lines, straight lines that are coming through, sometimes those are the most iffy situations. There's been times where we've had tornadoes that occur actually in between radar scans. I mean, it's just, because the radar that I'm looking at, I'm getting updates every 3 to 5 minutes. And a tornado can drop and go back up in that period of time, as wild as that sounds. So that's what we have to keep in mind here. That is what goes into this calculus. Donnie Ray Hicks, you say weather call's been useless for me. Here's the thing. If you don't get a weather call, you're not in a warning, or at least you're not in a warning that that service provides. So, Donnie, I'd love for you to send me a message and let me know what your issues might be. We can look into that. It's very possible that you just haven't had a warning. We've not had storms for quite a while, and the storms that we have had haven't always had warnings. And so it's not going to alert you that a storm is there. It's only going to alert you if a warning is issued. So, really keep that in mind as you go forward here, that it's not there for, hey, there's a storm somewhere nearby. It's only if there's a warning that covers your location. And so it may seem like you're not always getting alerts, but that's why. So we are going to continue to watch this near Venus. We've seen, several pretty consistent indications that this was trying to spin up here, but we haven't had any warnings, haven't had anything confirmed at this point. But it has been consistent over, several scans of the radar, and that kind of consistency is one of the things that we look for when we're trying to determine, hey, is this trying to spin up? What is this trying to do? This may at this point be just an issue of straight line winds. But as I showed you, we've been watching where, we have winds going different directions. Red is moving away from the radar. This is the location of the radar right here near Burleson. So radar is here. These winds are moving away. These winds are moving that direction. So you can see where that inflow and that outflow would be going. Pretty clear indications on the radar, but nothing has been confirmed at this point. Kate, how specific is the location for a weather call? It's your address. So if there's a warning issued a couple of streets away, it's probably not going to cover you. It's specifically your address. A lot of these apps will give you an alert for somewhere in your town, or really somewhere in your county, far enough away. So, if your address is not included in a warning, you're not going to get anything. Donnie, send us a private message or an email. That's Kevin@southmetroweather.com, and we'll be able to figure out how things are going for you. Sometimes it's a matter of just making sure you have those settings right. So we'll make sure that one way or the other you're taken care of. I haven't seen any hail yet in this system. Haven't gotten any reports of it. So that's not been an issue so far. That's the good news. And that, again, is part of, we don't have that kind of lift at this point, which would splash some doubt on a situation like this where we'd see possible rotation. It would certainly, seem to indicate that any kind of rotation that we might see would not be likely to have any longevity to it, have any stability behind it. So that's the good news. But if anything, again, we have those straight line winds possible near Venus, moving into western Ellis County now. So, straight line winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour plus are possible as well. And that can be its own concern. So we'll put this into motion so you can kind of see. This is what we've been watching near Venus. And you can see that where you kind of see that off and on little notch there, that little hook. The National Weather Service hasn't issued anything with that storm at this point, but does not mean that, it's not worth watching, and we'll definitely be doing that. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this, that little area going forward. But for now, I think we might be seeing that, losing some of that organization. In fact, I'm just going to put that on another screen here. Yeah, still seeing at least some gusty winds in that area, but we'll continue to monitor that because I feel like we're still seeing at least the potential for some inflow there. The couplet is not what it was earlier. The couplet was pretty tight there for a moment, and we did have a trend of increasing winds. But for now, I think we're good. I think we're okay with the situation as it is. Aside from that, I'll also say here that another concern is flash flooding. Now, the only flash flood warning in effect right now is up in Grayson County, so that's quite a bit north of us. But any areas that get any kind of training winds, or anything like that. But okay, so hopefully we're going to get some eyes on that part of that storm as that gets closer to the Midlothian area. But I will say, if we get any training areas of heavy rain or just persistent areas of heavy rain, flash flooding could become an issue because it's going to be a lot of heavy rain in a short amount of time. Anything severe coming to Forney? Other than, I mean, it really, I don't, there's nothing severe at the moment in North Texas, but there is the potential for that. So no, I would, nothing is catching my attention at this very moment, but that potential does exist as we get through the rest of the day, especially as we continue warming up into the afternoon. We've been fairly cool, but we will be generally warming up, and so that always gives you that potential, as we go forward. So I'm just kind of watching a few different areas, a few different sources of information here, monitoring just to make sure that we don't miss anything from the National Weather Service. Yeah, but I haven't seen. So I know there's a lot of folks wondering if they're going to get anything today. As you can see, as we zoom this out, the whole area is covered in heavy rain right now. There's really not any part of our area that's not going to get rain today. That this thing is marching eastward pretty efficiently. So I am fairly confident that all of us will get something. It may not be severe weather out of this, but you know, this is definitely going to be something that we'll keep an eye on. Of course, it is Valentine's Day, and I'm sure that this isn't the most romantic thing, spending it with me looking at weather radar. But I'm glad I'm glad you've chosen to follow South Metro Weather for your weather information. I want to go back to velocity here and just a couple of things. One is we still have this area here of some increased wind speeds. I don't see the couplet. I don't necessarily see this couplet formed as we did, but I'm still seeing those wind speeds. Big peak of winds south of Dallas right now, so that's going to be that's just near the Duncanville area, moving eastward there. So a pretty noticeable peak of winds there near Duncanville. That could be a downburst or a microburst. I don't see rotation there necessarily. I don't see an inflow aspect of that, but we'll monitor that too. I know that's Dallas County, but it's south of Dallas. I say anything between Dallas and Waco. So I know we have some southern Dallas County folks that are watching, but in the Midlothian area, we're still watching. Glow, yes, all of us are going to get some of this rain and thunder today. None of us are going to get past this. There's not going to be any kind of insane break in the in the clouds that's going to somehow miss us. Everybody will get this at some point or another, because this line, I mean, we'll go back to the reflectivity here. It's going to cover the entire area before it's all said and done. And we'll put that back into motion for you. So, Bobby, this line should be it for the severe weather at this point. Well, the strong to severe weather. So I don't expect anything really outside of this line necessarily, but later tonight we could have some storms come through as the backside of this system comes in, but I'm not really expecting that. Um, okay, so I'm getting eyes on the ground there in Midlothian telling me that there's not any obvious lowerings or anything like that. So I think that area of rotation may have ultimately kind of fallen apart. But South Dallas, just west of Duncanville, that may be an area of concern there. You can see that yellow. That is clearly an area of increased winds. Travis, if I could make things split, I would, but I can't. Unfortunately, there is Mardi Gras going on in Waxahachie, and we've been talking about that. So that's just why you got to watch that forecast and take that into consideration. But South Dallas here, you can see another one of these areas, and you can even see. Look at this. Yeah. You can even see that pretty well defined hook there. And you don't see inflow necessarily, but you do see kind of this cavity of lower winds. And just because of the proximity to the radar, sometimes that little cavity there means that's where you have the weaker winds. So that's going to be another one of those little areas that we have to pay attention to. Clay, I haven't seen really any hail today. Not really too concerned about that right now, but it is something that we will be watching here. So this is the area we were watching before. We had this area of possible rotation that moved into western Ellis County from eastern Johnson County. I'm hearing that we're not really seeing much in terms of, uh, you know, inflow or rotation or lowerings. Okay, we now have a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for southern Dallas County, really the almost the southern half of Dallas County at this point. That severe thunderstorm warning for a warning for hail, so that could be our first hail producer of the day. Not seeing that on the vertically integrated liquid, but sometimes that's hard to pin down, or it's hard to get quick information from that. That VIL tends to take a little bit of time to update there. So let me turn off that speaker so that that's not pinging. But I'm still watching that little area south of Dallas. That's going to be east of Duncanville here. That's going to be headed right towards I-35. You can see that little notch. And again, my spidey senses, if you will, are usually going to be a little heightened for that just because these tend to spin up fairly quickly. So for the rest of our area here, I'll put this into motion again. That's the severe thunderstorm warning for southern Dallas County that it runs until 1 o'clock. So that's a short warning, a half-hour warning here for that area. And I'm seeing that that's for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Could be some hail, but if any hail is going to be smaller than 1 inch, which is your severe thunderstorm criteria. That warning is going to be, for the most part, east of Cedar Hill. So I don't see Cedar Hill included in that. I mean, you can see on the radar, here's that notch that I'm watching south of Dallas. That is not near Wilmer. So I'm not seeing that near the Wilmer area right now. Probably going to be north of that area. And as we do this side by side again of the radar and the velocity, man, I'm still seeing that. National Weather Service saying an area of enhanced winds is moving just east of Duncanville. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour are possible. So it looks like they're still pegging those as straight line winds at this point. But I'm going to keep watching that because I mean, you can, if you just follow that hook in that little hook shape in the winds, yeesh, that's definitely worth watching because, as I've said several times, these are the kind of situations where you have those quick little spin ups that seem to come out of nowhere. And make sure we have a few things pulled up here. I think this is the first severe weather coverage we've done with this new configuration on the live stream. So hopefully this is serving well. Hopefully you're enjoying this. Not enjoy. I mean, this is not meant to be enjoyable, but that's Travis. Travis always with a joke. I mean, I keep it real, bud. Not always with the technical terminology there. So we're watching some increased winds west of Waxahachie. I think that you can see here that yellow pocket. That's going to be your increased winds there. And I do think that we could be looking at more straight line winds west of Waxahachie. So that's going to be definitely something to pay attention to. I'll keep an eye on that. I know that there's Mardi Gras going on there in Waxahachie. I'm sure there's other outdoor festivities going on around the area. So we will be watching that very closely. This is just one of those days where these daytime setups are great on the one hand because it's easier to see what's going on in the storms. You're awake, you're aware. Unfortunately, though, it's the middle of a day on a Saturday. You'd rather be doing probably 300 other things. It's Valentine's Day. I realize this sucks for a lot of folks. It's Mardi Gras, it's Valentine's. This is just not the day that you want storms to come through. Fortunately, though, we're going to get some very, very much needed rain out of this. But we're definitely going to have to just be careful with this. But this is why I'm making sure to be working today. This is definitely one of those days where folks need to be paying attention. And so, two pockets of increased winds here, one in Waxahachie, west of Waxahachie now, one just south of Dallas. So those are going to be the areas of greater concern. The rest of our area right now, there are some gusty winds out there, but that's going to be closer to 30 to 40 miles per hour. Not anything too concerning, but those two pockets of increased winds, at this point, we're not looking at anything like what we had in early March of last year, where we had those 90-mile-an-hour winds. Not seeing that. That's the good news. We're not seeing anything too wild here. Um, no tornado watches right now. So if you're hearing about a tornado watch, that's false information. Nothing like that issued right now. In fact, I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure I would have caught that if it was issued. Here's the thing, folks. When you're walking around among people out there, they love to share all kinds of crazy information. Some of them just don't know the terminology. Some of them, um, they hear something or whatever yeah, Christina, AccuWeather. AccuWeather's been making me crazy because a lot of these apps and even some of these online streamers are getting into the habit of issuing their own watches or warnings or issuing their own advisories and things. Um, can somebody send me a screenshot of what AccuWeather sent? Because that's the second person that's told me that a tornado is imminent from AccuWeather, and that's absolutely that's terrible. Because there's wow. Okay, yeah. If you can send that to me, Christina, that would be wonderful. And I know that anytime I talk about another platform or something, people jump on me for being rude, but you have to understand that in this business, I mean, you really have to be careful with the information you share. It really has to be. We really have to be professional about this. Um, that's wow. Let's see here. Wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Severe weather threat tornado. Dangerous weather imminent tornado. Dangerous. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Christina. Thank you so much for sending that. Because see, guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff that makes me absolutely crazy. And I doubt AccuWeather cares what I have to say. But I mean, really, from the 45-day forecast to now telling you a tornado is imminent when nothing is confirmed. I'm going to shut up now because you're not here to listen to me get on my soapbox. You're here for weather coverage. I apologize. It's just this stuff is this stuff drives me bonkers. But Weather Call will never do that. That's why I partner with Weather Call. Weather Call is going to tell you when a official National Weather Service warning is issued. This stuff is amateur hour. I mean, this is ridiculous. So, but we're not looking at any imminent tornadoes right now. Absolutely not. End of story. AccuWeather. If you have that app, get rid of it. Get rid of it. This is wild to me. My word. Um, wow. I can't get that off my head. Emily, I'm not going to sue anybody. I don't. I mean, that's not how we operate. That's not going to be productive. Um, okay, so I'm watching. I'm looking at. So Ashley, you sent a screenshot of. Yeah, so that's accurate, Ashley. That is actually a special weather statement, is what you're looking at, and it's telling you, hey, there's a strong storm. That's accurate information. I'm not seeing anything that's erroneous in that, so that's good. That's from the Fox 4 WAP. That's what they call it. WAPP weather app, right? Ashley, that's totally fine. Yeah, that looks fine. So you're good to go there. It's the where they're telling you that there's an imminent tornado when there's not anything confirming that. That is craziness. That is craziness. So, with all of the people who are getting that notification, I can reassure you that there are no imminent tornadoes right now. So, hey, we're you're good to go. I just want to reassure you because that's going to cause mass panic. That's how you cause mass panic, right there. Um, yeah, that's that's crazy. But what we don't even really, I haven't seen any reports of um, any hail at this point. There's some gusty winds out there, but the only severe thunderstorm warning we have right now is in southern Dallas County. That's mostly going to be for that area of stronger winds north of Lancaster. That's going to be towards. That will be moving into the Hutchins area. So I know somebody was asking about Hutchins. There are some gusty winds moving into that area. We'll take a look at the velocity here real quickly. Yeah, so you've got a small pocket of strong winds, and yeah, so that's going to be that area of stronger winds. Now, here's something too. This is a little bit. This is going to be looking a little higher up in the storm. So, I mean, it looks pretty dramatic, but the winds at the surface may not necessarily be that strong. So when we look at that, I mean, that's giving you 62, 67 miles per hour. That is severe weather, severe thunderstorm criteria. 58 miles per hour or greater is severe thunderstorm criteria. So that's what you're looking at there. But again, when you're looking at that on radar, it may not necessarily be that intense at the surface. That's one of the kind of things we get stuck with sometimes is people will look at the radar and immediately report that speed. Depending on your proximity to the radar, it may not always be that high up. We also have some stronger winds heading into Waxahachie. These are not as strong here, but I mean you can see this bow shape and you can see where those winds are. That is a terrible arrow. I apologize. I'm not good at drawing with a mouse here. Not my strong suit, but that's mostly going to be probably south of Waxahachie, between Waxahachie and Forest in there, maybe towards Lake Waxahachie eventually. But that's kind of what we're looking at. Um, and I'm trying to follow what's going on in the. All right, so hold on just one moment here. All right, I thought I'd turn that speaker off. Thank you so much. Okay. Um, I'm just trying to kind of make sure I'm all tuned in here because these things go sideways quick, and I just want to make sure that we're paying the closest attention. So I know that folks have been asking about Ennis in that area. We'll put this back into motion, kind of zoom out a little bit. You can see this line moving through. I mean, this thing is, uh, it's going to hit everybody eventually, one way or the other. It's going to hit everybody. It's just moving west to east. And I would say this thing is moving what? What did they say as far as the speed on this thing? Let me just kind of borrow that from there. East at 35, so about 30 to 35 miles per hour here. So moving at a decent clip. The good thing is, once this moves through, that should be the end of any kind of severe weather threat. I will say that I think the gusty winds threat is probably increasing for areas east of I-35E here in Ellis County. It looks like this line is getting a little more organized. So I will say I think the gusty wind threat will be higher for the I-45 corridor, Ferris, Palmer, Ennis. But it just kind of depends on what we're seeing as this continues to move eastward. But gusty winds are very possible there. All right. So let's see. Try to follow some comments here, some questions. Emily, yes, the weather cat is fast asleep behind me. And that's a good thing because he's not walking on the computer, which is a bad habit he's adopted. Let's see. Hopefully the chicken coop doesn't fly away. Winds are picking up north side of Waxahachie. Yeah, I don't think winds are quite to that point. I don't think we're looking at, I don't think we're there yet. So, all right. So let's get zoomed in here. Let's check those pockets of gusty winds. The one in Ellis County, we had the one in Dallas County as well. Looks like those winds in Dallas County are minimizing here. So I think for the Hutchins area, just between Hutchins and Wilmer, headed towards Seagoville, winds are calming down there a little bit, but looks like winds could be increasing towards Waxahachie. I'm also looking at, again, well, here we go. So now we're seeing those winds increasing in the Waxahachie area, and I am looking at least at broad rotation possible here. So we'll continue to monitor that, not seeing anything terribly concerning, but the south side of Waxahachie here. So I want to zoom in and kind of give you an idea. Here's Scarborough Renaissance Festival. So the winds are gusty right there. Yeah, so I just saw somebody mention that. Let's see here. Where did I? Yeah, Lauren. So yeah, you're by Scarborough Renaissance Festival. It's there now. 35 is right here. Let me make a quick adjustment here. The only thing I don't like about radar omega is sometimes the layers I want are not the layers I get. But we'll add the gray presentation. It's not as pretty, doesn't have everything on it, but this will at least show us. Well, they're red. The roads are red. We're just going to blend right in. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get a presentation that's going to show us those roads. Okay, here we go. So I know the towns are smaller and it's hard to read any of that. Unfortunately, they try to fit everything in here. But here's Waxahachie. The Scarborough Renaissance Festival is here. This is I-35. So going right across 35 right now, we have those increased winds, and so that's going to move south of downtown. That's the good news. So I know the Scarborough Renaissance, or rather Mardi Gras, is going on right now in downtown Waxahachie. The strongest winds are going to go south of there. However, if you are in the Neenah area, I know Nash and Howard are in this area too. There's Nelson Howard there, moving towards Rager Springs. So this is the area where we have those increased winds. At this point, these are being treated as straight line winds. I don't see anything that is too immediately concerning, but we will be watching that. Those winds looks like they could be increasing as we get to right there along 45 between Hutchins and Wilmer. That's headed over towards Seagoville. So that's in that severe thunderstorm warning that was issued that only goes for about another 10, 11 minutes there. But as far as those winds, I am watching those just south of Waxahachie. So, Lauren, you're saying hail here. Is that, where is here? Where's that location? Okay, so you're by Scarborough Renaissance Festival, correct? I think that's what you said. So you're reporting some hail there. Let's get back to that. So, hearing a report of maybe some small hail. Jason, is it safe to say those straight line winds are headed for Ennis? Right now, it looks like I'm going to have to watch and see what track those take. They may take a right turn here, but probably headed north. Well, let's put that back up here. Could be headed for Ennis. We'll have to see what those do, because the whole line is trying to track kind of northeastward. But those may take a kind of a straight. Yeah, as those increase there, I would be watching this in Ennis for sure. But those winds are definitely increasing on the south side of Waxahachie. But I'm going to continue to watch these because we could be looking at some inflow that's coinciding with that. So we'll be watching that very closely. But on the south side of Waxahachie, you want to be watching this. South of Waxahachie here, south of downtown. Downtown proper, you're just on the north side of this. But just, you can see just north of Neenah there. So right there, right about where I 35 and 77 come together, that's going to be where we have this pocket of increased winds. It's going to be heading right towards Rager Springs, right towards Ennis, right towards Garrett, especially. So that's the area we need to watch. If you're on 35, on 287, you need to be very careful with this. Small hail as a part of this as well. Probably not severe hail right now, but it is definitely worth paying attention to at this moment. And I apologize if I sound nasally here. Definitely still dealing with some cedar fever here. It has been kicking my butt this week. This is actually one of the better days I've had so far. Yeah, so it sounds like pea-sized hail in that area. Okay, yeah, Renee Weaver, Windsor Strong by the Senior Center. So that's going to be part of that area south of Waxahachie, south of downtown, where you're going to get those stronger winds. Let's kind of do this split screen here, just as a reminder. Headed towards Waxahachie right now, headed towards downtown is going to be this little pink. That's going to be the heavier winds, heavier rain. And then it's south of town where we have those increased winds right now. So I know, again, Mardi Gras is going outside. So just be careful there. Be prepared for this storm to ramp up in that area. There's plenty of places to take shelter in downtown Waxahachie. Jump into a shop, give a small business, a little bit of your time and attention and business there. Word and Wand just opened up downtown. There's Worth Collecting, who's one of our partners there. The College Street Pub is a great place to jump into, but give a small business some of your attention and some of your business there in downtown Waxahachie. Stay inside while this passes here, because small hail, gusty winds, a part of this storm. It's not severe. It's not severe warned at this time. That may change momentarily. We'll see what this does, but it's definitely worth staying inside. The good news is here, though. Okay, a special weather statement for that storm. So let me see what the language is going to be on that. See, how do they have that marked? Winds in excess of 40 miles per hour here, so that's what they're rated. That's not quite as intense as what we were seeing. And then small hail is possible with this one as well. We've already had those reports. So this storm is below severe limits, but that does not mean it's not a little rowdy. We've got lightning on there as well, so that's an area to be concerned about. Yep. So this is what we're looking at right now. Not severe at this time, but it is a rowdy enough storm. There is hail with this as well. There's small hail. There's lightning. The lightning is probably going to be the biggest concern with this, I would say. And that's with any storm. Lightning, I mean, you don't know when it's coming until it's there. Okay, small hail on Sycamore and Waxahachie. So looks like that area of pink is some small hail there. Not large enough to do a whole lot of damage. That's the good news, but definitely definitely need to be paying attention to that. Emily, will you only see rotation when it's red against another color, or can you actually pick up rotation within only the red? Uh, that's a loaded question, Emily. There's several kind of little nuanced things you have to watch for when it comes to rotation on radar. Maybe we'll do a class on that or something, but uh, tough to answer that quickly while we're engaged here. Here come the door knockers. So here's the thing. We are sponsored by Synergy Roofing. They do a wonderful job. I already see somebody trying to advertise their roofing company. Hey, we've already got a roofing partner that's second to none, as far as I can tell. Synergy Roofing, they are wonderful. They don't knock on your door. They're not going to be. When we had that storm last March, I literally watched 6 trucks. I counted them. 6 trucks of one roofing company all parked in a neighborhood. And they fanned out, and I'm going, my God, these people are just trying to eat lunch. So Synergy Roofing, they're not going to go bother you. They're not going to go, begging for your business. They're, synergyroofing.com. They are there for you if you need them. Otherwise, they're not going to harass you and beg for your attention. So, um, Hail by 77 by Tom Thumb. So that's actually right by me. So we're probably getting some small hail here at the studio. I I don't have the window open. Okay, so I'm getting reports of hail. Trying to look at the camera here to see. Not seeing anything right now. No severe weather right now. Nothing is warned severe in our area. South Dallas, there is that remaining warning going on, but not getting that. Hearing a report of dime-sized hail in Waxahachie, the North Grove area. So that's where I'm at. That's close to me. So I imagine I'll be hearing that pretty soon. There we go. I can hear it now. Yes, we are getting hail here at the studio now. All right. Yeah. So it sounds like it's going to be small hail. It's smaller than severe. That's not going to be uh, severe size hail, at least. Emily Snyder DIY gutter cleaning. I just my methodology on that is I just get out there with my gloves and clean. Just grab the gunk, get it out of there, and wet it down with a hose. I just kind of do it old fashioned way, I guess. That's that's my trick there. Just kind of do it. Uh, Rain or hail in Fort Worth. There's really not much going on in Fort Worth right now. Everything's calmed down there because that line has moved east of there. So nothing in Fort Worth right now worth mentioning. Uh, it's passed through there. So that's the good news there. So we'll just show you. I know that this dart map doesn't really show much in terms of counties or anything like that. Sometimes it's hard to get a good stream friendly map on here, and I'm working to try to resolve that here. All right, I know that the town names are tiny here, but you can at least see uh, the uh, the highways and that kind of thing. Okay, hearing about flash flooding on 77 between Sycamore and Marvin. So that's one of the things we talked about. We saw earlier today, as the weather prediction center rather um, increased that threat of excessive rainfall, and that's what they're talking about is that threat of flash flooding. So I'm hearing that there's some urban flooding going on, major flash flooding on 77 between Sycamore and Marvin. That's what I'm told. Um, okay, let's see. Yeah, so I mean that's the thing is when you get this much rain this quickly, sometimes that's going to overwhelm those urban drainage systems, that infrastructure. So that's going to be potentially an issue there. Damien, yes, all of our area. Let me zoom out again. All of our area is going to see this. There's really nobody that's going to miss out on storms today. This whole line covers our area. So it's not there yet, but it will be. Right now, the strongest part of this storm, there's nothing severe in Ellis County right now, but there are some pockets of stronger winds. We've heard reports of small hail moving through. There's some flash flooding issues as well. All of those fairly localized. There's not any kind of widespread severe weather at this point. I think that's more likely east of our area, east and southeast. That severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Dallas County has expired. That was not reissued, so things have kind of de escalated a little bit. We have seen a couple of areas of rotation here that we watched pretty closely, but I'm not seeing that at this time. So that's kind of the good news here. We're looking at things being fairly docile right now at this moment. So things are kind of chilled out for the most part. That's the good news here. I'm hearing that it always floods bad by Sycamore and 77. That's the thing. There are some places that are very flood prone, and this is kind of one of those days where you have to watch those areas when you're getting those pockets of heavier rain that can quickly pool in those areas. Uh, Judy, the storm is moving about 35 miles per hour. That's the last that we got. Um, Daisy House DeSoto, my husband's business, told them to get into the tornado safe spots. Not seeing anything in that area. That line has since moved through there. There was an area of stronger winds we were watching in that area, but there was no confirmation of a tornado. Now, I will say, much to my horror and disdain, AccuWeather was sending out alerts saying tornado imminent, which was completely and utterly and totally and unequivocally false. There's really no other way to put that. So uh, I'm still mortified by that. I still can't. I can't handle that. Um, all right, so yeah, hail in Pecan Hill. So that small area of hail, it's pretty clear where that is. So that just moved. You can see that there, that little pocket. It just moved up from the North Grove area of Waxahachie on up to the Pecan Hill area now between Red Oak and Ferris. So yeah, pretty clear where that is. Yeah, it hasn't reached Ennis yet, but it is definitely getting there. And I'm going to switch this over. I know it's hard to see city names on that map, so I'm going to switch back over where it's a little easier to see those. So let's see, Emily and Midlothian clear. Yeah, I mean the severe weather threat is over for Midlothian. I mean you still have rain there, may still have some lightning and thunder and that kind of thing, but the severe weather threat, once you get past this initial line, that severe weather threat is past your area. So this is putting that in motion. So once you get past that initial influx of storms, you're clear from there. So there are no severe thunderstorm warnings right now. Again, if you got that notification from AccuWeather that said tornadoes were imminent, please uninstall it and never install it again. That app is atrocious and that is completely irresponsible. So please get rid of that app. That is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. My gosh. But as I mentioned, that's why I stick with Weather Call. Weather Call only alerts you if a warning is issued. I don't know what AccuWeather's doing. They've lost their minds. uh, Yikes. But Weather Call, it alerts you if there's a warning, an official National Weather Service warning issued for your address. End of story. Uh, and Weather Call is not an app. It's a service you sign up for. You have a dashboard where you put your address, you put your settings in, how you want to be notified, and that's that. It's not an app that's going to try to guess where your location is based on some cell tower somewhere. So that's the beauty of it. As far as apps, I don't use weather apps because they're I've never seen one that was really, really good. I mean, I use Radar, Omega 4 Radar, and that kind of thing. But as far as the ones that are going to send you when they when they send you a notification of something of whether there's a gosh a warning or something like that. I've never been impressed by any of the apps, so I can't really speak to that. Jimmy, the severe thunderstorm warning for Southeast Dallas County that has expired. So actually, I think 5 minutes ago, I think you saw where that was expired because that expired at 1 o'clock. So I think the notification you saw was probably the expiration of that warning because that was uh, when that was allowed to time out. So that's the good news. WeatherBug app is one of the worst. They're And so at this point, I would say that AccuWeather is probably my least favorite because of that feature. Because I mean, my gosh, I don't know. I just can't stop looking at it. uh, Felicia is it going south or north, coming in from Houston to Ellis County? I mean, it's moving. I mean, you can see on radar, it's moving east to west. So not north or south. It's moving east to west there. So if you're coming in from Houston, I'm not sure how far away you are, but the farther south you are, it's not as intense farther south. You just be careful as it's passing through. Now, later today, there is a higher risk of severe weather farther east and south of us, but I'm not sure where you are, so I can't really give you too much specific information there. So that's just kind of a broad look of what we're looking at here. We have only had one severe thunderstorm warning issued today. We've not had any watches issued. We had a few areas of we had just a few areas of rotation that we watched, but nothing produced, nothing caused anything. So I think we're good to go there. So the good news is overall that we have. Let's see. You're sitting at DFW now. Is a good time to head back to Waxahachie. Kelly, if you're talking about the airport DFW, I mean, if you want to head back to Waxahachie, I would maybe give it a few more minutes for this heavier activity to get out of the way, just for the sake of having an easier drive. Uh, but yeah, I would say as far as heading to Waxahachie, just give that a little bit of time. And honestly, the time it's going to take to get down here, by the time you're in this area, it's probably going to be lightening up. So I should say you should be okay pretty soon. Small hail in Rocket, yeah. So that little pocket of hail is going to be in the Rocket area, probably headed towards Ferris. Not severe hail; it's small hail. I heard pebble size or dime size, that kind of thing. I think that's the largest report that I got. So not too terribly intense there. JT Music, you said you felt a pressure drop in Waxahachie. Well, I mean, the low pressure system, the kind of the center of that, will be moving kind of close by overnight tonight, and that's how we'll get the backside of that. That could bring a few storms through. The good news is, though, those probably won't be severe later on tonight. So if you're going on, if you're, it's Valentine's Day, if you got a dinner date planned, something like that, probably not severe weather tonight, but maybe a few boomers out there, a little bit of thunder, that kind of thing too. Uh, Heavy rain, that kind of thing, but not probably anything worth getting too caught up on. Chris, how fast is it moving? I mean, the line is moving about 30 to 40 miles per hour, so the heaviest line is moving through, but the rain's going to be with us for a little while. Electric drones don't mix well with water. Trust me, I have an e-kit of my own. I completely understand. So you will need to be careful with those because the rain's going to be around for a while, unfortunately. Stephanie, what time will all this be done? So here's the thing. I mean, we're going to be looking at rain off, on and off through tonight, really. I mean, we will be looking at, we'll be looking at lighter rain. I mean, you can see all of this to the west. So all of this rain to the west will be kind of hanging around throughout the afternoon. We may have a break this evening, but tonight, we're going to have another kind of round of heavier activity blow through and go from there. Again, the storm is moving about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So I know that folks in Ennis may just be getting this storm, and I know it seems like you've probably been waiting forever, but it's almost there. Ennis is it's almost in your area, so you don't have to wait much longer there. Just as a reminder here, if you saw that AccuWeather update earlier that said dangerous weather, imminent tornado, no, no tornadoes today. We watched some rotation there for a while, but we've had nothing come of that. So, and that was about 12:30 that came through. About 12, looks like about 12:25, 12:20, 12:25. Um, AccuWeather telling you there's an imminent tornado. Absolute garbage. Not responsible. So again, I know there's probably going to be more and more people that are coming to me. Hey, what is this? It's an app that's awful. Apparently, so we'll check the velocity here. Just kind of take a look at some winds, see if we've got any areas um, with more concerning, pockets of. I don't see any stronger winds here, or I don't see any damaging winds at least. Can't rule out winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour, but those are below severe limits. Severe starts at 58 miles per hour, 58, 60. Above that, that's where you start getting more damage. Uh, but nuisance winds are really all we're looking at, I think, right now. Let's see here. Yeah, so not really looking at much in terms of those winds. We may be looking at some small hail here near the Palmer area up towards Ferris. Small hail possible in this line, but really not looking at much more than that. All right, let's see here. Candy Vien, Apple Weather ain't much better. Well, I mean, the Apple Weather app. Uh, I've seen it give three different forecasts for the same location at the same time. Where it gave three different versions of current conditions at once. So these weather apps, yeah, they're crazy. I have yet to really be impressed by one. Like I say, I use Radar Omega for radar. It doesn't provide these automated forecasts or anything like that. Uh, so that's the good thing about it. Okay, yeah, pea-sized hail reported in Palmer. So again, small hail out there. It is cool. The temperatures are cooler, but there's plenty of lift. So that combination is going to lead to a higher likelihood of getting some hail there. So that's definitely what we're seeing. Yeah, sounds like the hail is pretty short-lived in that area too. Heavy rain and high winds in the Ennis Garrett area. Yeah, so it's definitely just moving into Garrett. For right now, not much headed into Navarro County here. It looks like it's just knocking on your western door there, but not as intense as it is in Ellis County. It definitely looks like Navarro will have a little bit of an easier time here with this. So I got a message from somebody saying the storm has to be on the cusp of severe. Trees with no leaves whipped around like crazy. A sheet of plywood installed in my under construction that just ripped off while I watched. fly more than 100 feet before landing. So I'm not seeing anything that intense on radar. There may be pockets, and I'm not sure where you're talking about either. So I can't really speak to that without a location. But you can see just north of Italy, sorry, Italy. Let me say that correctly. Some increased winds there. So I mean, there can definitely be little pockets of stronger winds, but there's nothing that's widespread or more consistent there. So that's why there's not a warning issue for that. You're going to have these little pockets of higher winds, but until there's something that's more stable, more widespread, so and Rager Spring. So yeah, I'm not really seeing anything in that area that has me too concerned. Looks like you could have had just a little pocket of some stronger winds, but again, you can see how quickly that came and went. So at this point, it's just going to be little pockets of winds that pick up, little downbursts, if you will, but nothing that's widespread or consistent enough to lead to a warning here. So that's the good news. It's nothing that's lasting too terribly long. And I know that if you're at the Mardi Gras festivities in Waxahachie, it's still heavy rain. The good news is that should be moving out in the next several minutes here, and then it's still going to be wet out there. It's going to be wet for a while. You can see there's plenty of rain behind this. So off and on rain will continue after that line. Tonight we'll have another line of, or another kind of cluster of rain and storms. Probably not severe though. I don't think we'll see that tonight, but we will have the backside of that system that kind of rotates through, and I could probably jump over to that HR model here and show that to you. Let's see if we have enough of that to kind of visualize that here. So this is a model. This is that HR model, and then here's that backside of that system. So you can see, and it may stay mostly north of us. It looks like it's trying to do that, but 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11. So after about 8 or 9 o'clock, looks like we could have some spotty storms that come through. Nothing like what we have right now, but just keep in mind that there will be a few storms possible tonight if you have a date planned for those, for the Valentine's festivities there. So really, things right now don't look terribly intimidating here. I'll put this back into motion for you just so you can kind of have that reference there. But yeah, I mean, not seeing any kind of severe weather right now. No warnings are in effect. We've only had one severe thunderstorm warning today. Watched a couple of areas of some rotation, but none of those were able to stay stable enough. None of those had any kind of confirmation of anything or any warnings. But electricity flickering near the Ennis High School. I mean, that's possible when you have some of those pockets of strong winds. In fact, let's take a look at the velocity here. I want to see what's going on just east of Ennis. Waiting for that to update here. Okay, so I want to show you what I'm looking at here. So you see this old notch here. I wanted to just double check that. I don't really see anything worth concern at this moment. Now, we are looking higher up with the radar here because the radar looks kind of at an angle. The farther away you are, the higher up it's looking. So we're not exactly looking too low in the storm here, but I don't see anything that immediately has me concerned just outside Ennis as far as winds or rotation are concerned right now. But we will be watching that just in case. But definitely looking at some gustier winds as that gets into the Ennis area. So just keep that in mind. East of it is there, north of Alma and Rice. That's going to be more towards the Bristol area. There could be some gustier winds, but no severe weather, no severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that area right now. And then for Navarro County, maybe some gusty winds moving in, some heavy rain, lightning, thunder, that kind of thing, but nothing severe headed that direction right now. So, as far as severe weather events are concerned, we've been pretty lucky so far. That's the good news. We will continue to see more rain. This is very much needed rain. And again, I apologize if I sound nasally here. I might have to go take some take some medicine here to kind of help things clear up, hopefully. But uh, if you're downtown Waxahachie right now for the Mardi Gras festivities, stay inside for a little while. We still have some heavy rain, lightning, thunder moving through that area, so stay indoors if you can. And then, once that heavier rain has been allowed to move out, give that some time to breathe because lightning can strike 30 miles outside of a storm. And I know that blows everybody's minds, but it is something that you have to pay attention to. 30 miles outside of a storm, you can still get lightning. So very concerning there, when you're looking at that. But just be careful. Be smart about it there at Mardi Gras. Just try to stay inside as much as you can. And then, once things lighten up, enjoy the day. But it's definitely just one of those days where you just have to be mindful of the conditions that are going on there. Daisy, no tornadoes from these storms today. Not seeing any kind of tornadoes going on, so that's the good news. We saw those weather apps that were trying to throw all kinds of scary notifications and things, but not seeing any of that today. I'll tell you what, I am going to take a break here, and I'm going to see if I can take some medicine to help. I'm dealing with the cedar fever today. It looks like I gotta take some more medicine. I think what I had was wearing off. So I will. I'm going to take a quick break here. We'll be right back. Going to check on the kids, that kind of thing too, and more storm coverage. Nothing severe, but more storm coverage right after the break.
Smile upon your face, and I see something shimmering in your eyes. And they say if you want a glimpse the future you need space. And you said you'll put down your morning guns. Would you follow me to wander? My hand and walk beside me in a whirl of thunder. Fear is an imposter. When you look at me this way, I find it hard to not give in. So the days became weeks, it felt just like the night before. You were slowly fading in my mind. When you left I was so completely gone, but now I'm sure you were some of the best of things to find. Find it hard to not give in. what it means, but there's a smile upon your face, and I see something shimmering in your eyes. And they say if you want to glimpse the future, you need space. And you said you'll put down your morning guns.
And we're back. I needed to check on the kids, grab a snack here that I'm going to let sit and I'll eat here in a little bit. Um, but nothing severe going on right now. I should have just kind of adjusted this bag. So here's what we're looking at here. We've got this line of heavy rain, lightning, thunder, all that good stuff, but nothing severe at this moment. And this line has been fairly docile. We've had a few areas of, gusty winds, a few areas of some rotation that was trying to get organized. It wasn't able to really do anything. That's the good news. We've had some small hail out there. We did have the severe thunderstorm warning in southern Dallas County, but we really haven't seen anything outside of that. This is all just moving into Navarro County now. The heaviest of this is exiting Ellis County now, just about to move into Kaufman and Henderson counties, but that's my son asking if he can have the last of the cheesecake. Priorities. Uh, gotta make sure he grabs that while he can. But this is what our area looks like right now. We are looking at this line moving through, and there's some gustier winds out there. But again, we've seen little pockets of winds that have come close to severe limits, but we haven't really seen anything too consistent in our area. Again, we did have the warning in southern Dallas County, but nothing really since then. But that's been the good news. Rhonda, you're seeing some rotation near FM 85 and Walker Creek Road. Uh, when you say you're seeing rotation, what exactly does that mean? Um, let's see, you said near FM 85 and Walker Creek Road. Because hmm, because that's well behind the leading edge of the storm. So I would doubt that, just because normally that rotation is going to occur, um, more along the leading edge. So when you say rotation, what are you, Rhonda? What are you describing there? Um, Rhonda, if you could send a video of that. If you could send a video of that, I'd very much like to see it. But yeah, that area, you're going to see motion in the clouds and that kind of thing. The good news is, though, that even if you're seeing that, the storm doesn't appear to have the structural support to actually turn that into something dangerous. So you can still see some motion in those clouds, but the good news is that there's not a whole lot of there to really make that into anything. So that's what's positive. But I'd still like to see a video just so I can get an idea of what's out there. But you can see across our area we do have just this kind of broken line here. I'm hearing that uh, Mardi Gras and Waxahachie, unfortunately, is kind of wrapping things up. It's the good news is that it's going to be lighter rain there, but I mean it's already, man, it's already 1:30 here. So uh, hopefully some of the later plans for Mardi Gras, hopefully that there will be some things maybe that can happen later. Not sure, but I'll tell you, downtown Waxahachie is full of those smaller shops. Our partners at Worth Collecting. If you wanna get away from the rainy blues and do that with some retail therapy, it's a cool place to go. Right across from there, Word and One just opened up. Really neat place there. And when I tell you the food at College Street Pub is phenomenal, I mean It's home away from home. The French burger is a necessary part of life for me. So Amy, so is I'm getting multiple people now telling me about the circulation of the clouds. Can somebody send me a video of that? Because I would definitely be interested in seeing some kind of video of that because it's so hard to be able to say what's what without actually viewing it, and that's why ground truth is so important. And ground truth is that's what storm spotters are out there for, right? These guys that are trained out there to actually look and see what's going on. I don't think I'm. I don't think we really have any spotters out there right now, though. Unfortunately, but yeah, I would definitely be interested in seeing that. Um, I'm getting a notification here, but I think that's old. Okay, yeah, kind of checking my bases. But yeah, if you have a video of those clouds, the rotation on 1181 that's east of Ennis, definitely send that to me in an email, Kevin at southmetroweather.com, or just a direct message to the page. That's, either one of those are an option. But I'd love to see that so I can kind of discern what it is you're seeing because I'm not seeing that on radar. But at the same time, depending on how low that is, I mean, we're looking pretty high up, just in relation to, uh, the radar that is located in Burleson. But I'm not seeing anything on radar that immediately has my attention. My phone. Uh, Out near Ennis for raining way too hard to see anything. Yeah, and that's the thing too is sometimes you get a quick glance and it's hard to see anything as you go, hey, look at that. Then the rain sheet comes in. It's just you can't even see a thing in front of you. I'm trying to figure out why my laptop is still making noise, even though I turned the volume all the way down. That's really weird. Too much rain now to really see it. Okay, so that was a while ago then. So I don't guess anybody has any kind of visual on that. Bummer. I would have really liked to see that. I will say I have video of an area of rotation that was above my house, uh, but it wasn't even visible on radar. In fact, it was on the backside of the storm, and it was just because of the way the winds were coming in on the backside. But no, I don't see any rotation on the radar now. Nothing corroborating that. So it must have been very localized and very brief, because in that the good news is that there wouldn't have been any kind of structural support to turn that into anything more than just a brief, thing. So I hate to hear that about Mardi Gras and Waxahachie, Hatchie Gras, if you will. Uh, that's a bummer. I remember the rain at Hatchie Gras. What is it? A year or 2 years ago? Something like that. And we they were able to push through, but it wasn't as heavy as this. I think this might have been too much too quick to really keep that event going. But again, plenty of businesses in Waxahachie, plenty of places to go grab a beer, plenty of places to, get good food, all those kind of things. Those stores, I mean, I doubt they're going to be closed at this point. Some of the outdoor festivities might be limited, but hey, there's plenty of places to go downtown. Give a small business your little bit of your cash, a little bit of your support, and go into a new place. Word and Wand just opened up, worth collecting. They're one of our partners here at Hope at South Metro Weather, and they're my business is mixed up in my head. But Worth Collecting is phenomenal, really cool stuff. Go to Worth Collecting, get somebody a Valentine's gift. That's your challenge. If you're in downtown Waxahachie right now, Worth Collecting, right over by the College Street Pub, right there on College Street, just off the square. Really neat stuff. I mean, you got Pokemon stuff, you got the sports memorabilia, all kinds of different trading card games, right? All kinds of different collectibles. They have a lot of Star Wars collectibles, and it's a lot of stuff from when I was a kid. So they are actively after my wallet. They're really good at that, which is terrifying. Um, Holly K over by Keene in a break. Yeah, so I mean, in the Keene area, if you're behind the line, I mean, you've got plenty of off and on rain there. So just it's going to be off and on rain throughout the afternoon. That's kind of just going to be the reality of it. Uh, Later tonight, after about 8, 9 o'clock, we could have a few thunderstorms move through with some heavier rain. Nothing severe, I don't think, but that's mostly going to be that backside of that system bringing some of that through. And, that'll be more of just kind of a thing here and there. So if you do have, date plans tonight, keep that in mind that you could very well be looking at, a few storms moving through. But it's looking at the latest models, look like that may be trending. Didn't mean to hit the mic there, but maybe trending more north of us. So I think that's going to be a little bit of a positive there. Nice rainstorm east of Ferris. Yeah, so I mean that's the thing is once you get past this initial line here, things have really calmed down. And moving through Navarro County right now, it's not severe. It doesn't look too intense at this point. You're going to get a bit of a gusty wind on the front end of that. You're going to get some heavy rain at times, some lightning and thunder, but nothing severe. Everything looks pretty garden variety right now. We had a little bit of hysteria earlier with that AccuWeather notification of a tornado imminent. I'm going to be digging into that. I want to know where that came from. I imagine it's the same technology that puts the little tornado icon on your radar where it thinks rotation is, and that's what comes from these the automation, the AI that's trying to read radar, and you don't have human discernment of that. That can be very problematic. And I mean, I can't imagine an event like Mardi Gras in Waxahachie. A lot of people have the AccuWeather app, and it's sending out, "Hey, there's a tornado." I mean, my gosh, that's chaos. That's terrible. That's completely irresponsible. Uh, Amber over in Van Sant County. I mean, you do have those storms headed your way. Nothing severe right now, but you do have plenty of heavy rain, lightning, thunder, some gusty winds moving through there. So be prepared for that in Van Sant County. It's not severe, but it's going to be quite a storm for a little while. Um, has there been any power outages in that area? I'm not sure exactly where you're referring to, but we can look at power outages. I want to look by, let's see. Oh, there goes the weather cat. He's awake. Let's see. We'll look by county here. 122 power outage customers affected in Ellis County, just 2 in Hill County. Let's see. None in Johnson County. And just 1 in Navarro County. So pretty limited power outages. There's a handful in Ellis County, but nothing too widespread from what I can see. So that's the good news there. Power outages are fairly limited across our area there. And that's just a credit to the fact that these storms have not been terribly intense. We had that marginal risk of severe weather. We had a couple of close calls, a couple of interesting things, but despite the completely crazy app stuff, uh, no severe weather really reported in our area. Will the line of the storm get stronger as it heads towards Houston? Houston is quite a ways outside of my coverage area. We cover between Dallas, Fort Worth, and Waco. But I will say that the Houston area, it does look like that is included in that slight risk, that higher risk of severe weather. And so I would I would say, that it's definitely possible in the Houston area to get some severe weather later this evening. So I don't cover that area. Can't really say too much, but you know, I would say definitely tune into some local sources there. In fact, I've heard in the Houston area, I don't remember the name, but there's a pretty good source of weather there locally, and of course, there's always the National Weather Service, your TV meteorologists, those guys. So make sure you're following a local source for that. Travis, you said, kind of worried about Scarborough with the people or the crew uses AccuWeather app to get false information. Yeah, I'm happy to partner with Scarborough Renaissance Festival too every year. We've done that the last several years, and that's one of the reasons I'm happy to partner with them so that I can make sure they're getting accurate information. So if you're going to Scarborough Renaissance Festival this spring, I imagine we will continue to partner with them and work with them to make sure they're getting accurate information. So I'm always making sure that the people who run that festival are informed and making sure that you're safe with accurate information, not whatever apps are just throwing at you. So that's that was alarming today. That's the first thing. That's the first I've seen that. That may be new this season, but that is alarming to me. That because you're right, that can cause crazy hysteria, just absolutely wild, and that definitely I think needs to be addressed, without a doubt. That's crazy. That is just crazy, and it makes me worried about what if there's any community based systems that are set up with that. Um, but again, that's another topic. So this is the limit of what we have in our area. I think the imminent severe weather threat has ended, from what I can tell. We'll take a look. Um, the heaviest of this has moved out of Ellis County. We do have some heavy rain moving through the Corsicana area right now. There's going to be some gusty winds there. I'm not looking at anything that has me too concerned. We'll kind of rock this back and forth a little bit. Yeah, I mean we have some winds that are coming through, but nothing too concerning here in Navarro County. There's going to be a quick bout of heavy rain. Looks like that's going to move through pretty fast. I mean, we can look at that. And so moving right towards Corsicana, heavy rain there in Rice and Alma, right towards Oak Valley, going through Purton, headed towards Angus and Richland too. But not really too much to be concerned about here. I think we're getting off pretty easy today. And getting away with a nice Valentine's rain. We definitely need the rain here. There are burn bans already in place, I believe. In let's see, where are they in effect right now? You can actually go to southmetroweather.com/burn bans to get that information. So I'm going to check and see, because not only is it a reference for you, it's a reference for me as well. So I can remember those. So disaster burn ban enacted 6 a.m. Tuesday, February 10th, effective until 6 a.m. Tuesday, February 17th. So until Tuesday morning, that disaster burn ban is in effect for Hill County, unless they rescind that. Navarro County has theirs that was enacted Monday the 9th and is still there. But yes, so yeah. Uh, so bird bans are in place in Hill and Navarro counties. I imagine they will probably be rescinded at least temporarily after today because pretty good rain coming through, and there's more behind this line, and more possible tonight. So an inch or two possible from this, maybe some more localized, total higher than that. But yeah, I mean, looking pretty good as far as rain is concerned. We definitely needed that. We're getting a head start on it. Hopefully, we get more of this rain in the spring, and maybe we can finally bury some of these fire concerns, because we were starting to see, if you follow any of our area emergency managers, you saw where they were seeing more and more of those fires. And that was really getting concerning there for a while. Let's see. Let's see. Had a power blink about 30 minutes ago. Had to reboot the laptop. Why it is. I'm not sure where you're talking about, but yeah, there's going to be. I think there's going to be some areas where, some of these gustier winds, when you get that first push of gusty winds, might flicker the power a little bit. But as we read off the Encore website a short time ago, just some limited power outages right now. Nothing too crazy. Kevin's unfortunate nasal congestion issue is causing my closed captions to say Birdman instead of Burn Ban. Yeah, I apologize. The cedar fever, guys, it's really killing me. It's just wild. Coming down in buckets south of Rice, can't hear anything you're saying. Well, I know that there's been an issue too of the audio being fairly quiet on the streams, and I'm trying to get that addressed. I've been going all through different settings here, and it's it's been hard to kind of nail that down. So we'll look really quickly in Corsicana, the Navarro County area, just to see. I still don't see a whole lot in terms of wind. So I think Navarro County, I think you're going to get off scot free here without any severe weather. So that is nice. That is what we love to see out there. And I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream here just so I can kind of take care of myself. Hopefully, keep working on getting some of this congestion cleared up because it is just it's been kicking I'm getting slowly better, but it's been kicking my butt this week, and hopefully can get that more improved here. But stay tuned to South Metro Weather. We'll keep you updated as the rest of this line moves through. Once this line is out of here, the good news is, and Navarro County, I'm not abandoning you, but the severe weather threat has ended here. I'll continue to post updates regularly here. But the severe weather threat, the imminent severe weather threat is over. So I'm going to wrap up the stream. That'll allow me to kind of monitor things more closely. And of course, if we see a severe weather threat that's coming back, I'll make sure to, of course, bring live coverage back. But I can hear the youngest kiddo is awake, so I'm going to end the stream so I can go take care of him as well. I'm going to take a quick break here, and more updates are to come, and live coverage will return, of course, if needed. Thank you so much for tuning in.
A smile upon your face, and I see something shimmering in your eyes. And they say if you want to glimpse the future, you need space. And you said you'll put down your morning guns. Would you fall